Summer is the thickest season for us fragrance enthusiasts. Either you wear something fresh that disappears in 2 hours and leaves you smelling like nothing, or you wear something with actual presence.
Did you just smell me? Difficult to avoid.
And end up choking everyone out when the heat amplifies it. So in this video, I'll show you the 7 best summer fragrances for 2026 that actually perform in heat without sacrificing personality. Quick context: every fragrance here is from the niche side, not mainstream designer. And the reason why I lean niche really comes down to identity. Even a genuinely cool jacket stops feeling like yours the moment you see other people on the street wearing the same one. Same with fragrance. Picture someone attractive walks past wearing a famous perfume, the kind you smell once and instantly recognize because half the people around you wear it. Now picture them wearing something you've never smelled before, but smells incredible. Which is more compelling? For me, every time, the second. Mainstream brands have to sell hundreds of thousands of bottles per launch, so they optimize for what the most people will accept. When that hits, everyone buys it, and you get the overlap problem. Niche houses don't have that constraint, so they get to be more specific, and the people wearing them get to smell more like themselves. Fragrance 1. Angel's Share on the Rocks by Kilian Paris. Let's start with the one that surprised me the most. Kilian dropped this in 2025 as a remix of the original Angel's Share, and the brief was simple. Take the cognac DNA and cool it down for warm weather. Here's how they did it. The composition opens on grapefruit, Italian lemon, bergamot, mandarin, and bitter orange, all stacked over what they call an ice accord with aldehydes. So you get this bright citrus blast with a literal cool air sensation up top. Then the heart kicks in, and this is where it gets interesting. Cognac, cinnamon, and caramel. Same boozy DNA as the original, but the citrus stays present long enough to keep the cognac from going syrupy. It reads like a chilled cognac instead of a warm one. The base is myrrh, oak, cashmere wood, sandalwood, and tonka bean. Smooth, slightly sweet, but never heavy. The imagery I keep coming back to is a hotel bar in summer. Glass of cognac over ice, suit jacket off, evening light, boozy but with clarity. On a stake. If you already own the original Angel's Share, this is lighter cousin, not a replacement. The original is a beast for cold weather. This one is the version that actually works when it's 30 degrees outside. And the price is standard Kilian. Niche pricing, niche performance, refined rather than aggressive. But for summer, this is one of the only boozy options that actually breathes in heat. Most cognac and rum fragrances become syrup the second the sun hits. This one stays elegant. Fragrance 2. Per Se by 2787 Parfums. Per Se is the opposite energy. Where Angel's Share is a bar at night, Per Se is a white room in the morning. 2787 is a Barcelona-based niche brand. Clean conceptual stuff, minimalist bottles. Per se means by itself or in itself. And that's the whole pitch. It's a skin scent built around the wearer, not the fragrance. The composition is interesting. Top is violet leaves, pink, black pepper, and aldehydes. So it opens fresh but with this quiet pepperiness underneath, not a pure clean opening. Then the heart goes into bamboo and orris butter with a soft floral bouquet around it. The bamboo is what makes this fragrance feel different from a generic skin scent. There's a green, almost watery quality to it. Base is angelica root, ambroxis, and musk. Ambrette in particular is what gives it that warm skin closeness. The perfumer is Shamala Mizensir, who's known for restrained conceptual work, and Per Se reads like that. It doesn't announce itself. On a stake, this isn't for everyone. If you want something that projects across a room, skip this. Projection is low by design, and some people spray it and don't understand what they just smelled. That's a valid reaction. But in summer heat, there's something really appealing about the fragrance that sits close to the skin and doesn't amplify into a cloud every time you sweat. You get the benefit of smelling clean and intentional without the heat turning your fragrance into a weapon. Good for offices, dates, anywhere being subtle matters more than being noticed. Fragrance 3. Poème do Sagano by LK Parfums. LK is Sonia Constance's brand. Constance spent years at Givaudan working on fragrances for big houses, and LK is the project where she gets to do whatever she wants, with each fragrance built around a specific destination. Poème do Sagano takes you to the Sagano bamboo grove in northwestern Kyoto. Quick personal note, as someone Japanese, I was skeptical going in. A lot of Japanese-themed niche fragrances are just generic green compositions with bamboo slapped on the marketing copy. This one actually delivers. Here's why. The opening is bergamot, yuzu, and grapefruit. The yuzu is the key. It gives that bright, slightly bitter Japanese citrus character that bergamot alone can't pull off. Then the heart goes into bamboo, matcha tea, and shiso leaves. Real shiso, real matcha, not abstract green notes. The matcha gives it this almost steamed, slightly bitter quality. The shiso adds an herbal lift that I've genuinely never smelled in another fragrance. Base is patchouli, cedarwood, and musk. The whole thing reads like the Japanese ingredients you'd actually find in Kyoto, not the Western perfumer's idea of Asian that's rare. On a stake. This is an atmosphere fragrance, not a performance fragrance. Maybe 5 to 6 hours of moderate projection, and some people will call it too quiet. Fair criticism. It's also less linear than typical summer fragrances. The matcha and shiso shift quite a bit through the wear. But what it does well is execute a specific feeling really precisely. Calm, quiet, green, Japanese. If you want something that smells like a place rather than a generic season, this is one of the few that gets it right. Fragrance 4. Paradiso by Pigmentarium. Pigmentarium is the first independent Czech perfume house, founded in Prague in 2018 by Tomáš Ritz. It's still niche. Most people I talk to haven't heard the name, which is part of the appeal. Paradiso is their take on the Côte d'Azur, the French Riviera, in summer. The official imagery is specific. Trees casting shade over a cool pool, ice clicking in glasses, sun bouncing off everything. That's the scene the perfumer Jakub Biermann was building. The composition matches the brief. Top is grapefruit, tangerine, and rhubarb. The rhubarb is what makes the citrus opening feel less generic. It's tart, slightly green, slightly sour, then the heart drops into juniper berries and pepper. Yes, juniper like in gin. And that's where this fragrance gets its actual edge. It's not a soft floral middle, it's almost a cocktail-like middle. Base is vetiver, patchouli, and ambergris. So you get this trajectory: bright bitter citrus, then a juniper pepper kick, then a smooth earthy dry down with a hint of animalic warmth from the ambergris. On a stake, the juniper might surprise people who buy this expecting a soft summer scent. It has a real spine to it, more bartender than beach, and it's a stronger projection than some others on this list, closer to people who will notice than skin scent. But if you want a citrus that has actual structure, not just lemon bergamot musk like every other summer cologne, Paradiso delivers. Best for evenings, dinners, anywhere you want to wear something fresh that still feels grown up. Quick aside, since we're talking about niche territory like Pigmentarium, I'm actually building one too, a small fragrance house, online only, for people who care about wearing something that doesn't smell like everyone else around them. The supply on each release is genuinely small, not limited edition as a marketing line, but small because the naturals I want to use don't exist at scale. The way I'm structuring it is no retail margin, no department store, all of that overhead goes back into materials. So the cost ratio of actual perfume oil and naturals, the things bigger brands can't afford to use at high concentration, is significantly higher than what you'd get at the same price point from a mainstream house. If that sounds like your thing, the waitlist is in the description, link to the website is down there. You sign up once and that's how you get notified when a release opens up. Same website also has a weekly newsletter I write. It's just an observation from the fragrance industry, things I find interesting, the kind of stuff I'd send to a friend who's into perfume. It is not promotional, there's no discount code, no buy this, no sales pitch. If you never buy a single bottle from me, the newsletter will still works for you. If that sounds useful, subscribe. If not, ignore it. No hard feelings. Okay, back to the list. Number 5 is where this gets weirder. Fragrance 5, August 7th, 2088 by Rundholz Parfums. Now we go a little weirder. Rundholz is a German avant-garde fashion house, and their fragrance line carries the same DNA as clothing. Each scent is named after a date, and August 7th, 2088 is exactly what the name suggests, a date in the future. The fragrance was developed with perfumer Arturetto Landi and dropped in 2023. Here's the thing, when I first heard the name, I assumed it would be a cold, metallic, futuristic scent. Server room, AC on full blast, that kind of thing. It's not, and that's actually what makes it interesting. The opening is green grapefruit, green cactus, rhubarb, and marine note, so it starts bright and sharp and slightly aquatic. Then the heart opens up into real flowers. Orchid, lily of the valley, iris, jasmine with lentisk and pampas grass for texture. Not synthetic, not abstract, actual floral materials. Then the base lands warm, sandalwood, tonka, vanilla, musk, oak moss, and hay. So you get this contrast that's interesting on skin. The opening reads like clean, cool morning. The heart reads like walking through tall flowers. The base reads like warm skin in late afternoon. It's the future as imagined as a physical place, not a cold concept. Honest take, the hay and vanilla in the base might catch you off guard if you went in expecting something austere. It's warmer than the bottle suggests, and it's not cheap. Niche pricing for niche performance, around 5 to 7 hours of moderate projection. But for summer rotation slot that isn't citrus, isn't aquatic, and isn't tropical, August 7th, 2088 is the wild card. Wear it when you want people to ask what you're wearing.
What is that smell?
And then not to be able to describe it back to anyone. Fragrance 6 Hours to Rio by Frapin. Frapin is a French cognac house founded in 1270. Yes, 1270. Louis XIV gave them noble status, and their perfume division is where they translate that heritage into scent. 6 Hours to Rio launched in 2024, created by perfumer Julien Rasquinet. Quick story behind the name, because this one is great. It's not the modern flight time from Paris to Rio. That's about 12 hours. It's the Concorde flight time. When the supersonic Concorde flew the Paris-Rio route from 1976 to 1982, it cut the journey to roughly 6 to 7 hours. Frapin built the fragrance around that. The romance of being on the Concorde, impatient, knowing someone is waiting for you in Rio. That story matters because the composition is built to feel like that journey, not just smell tropical. Top notes are bergamot, ginger, pineapple, mango, guava, mandarin, and cardamom. So the opening is bright, juicy, and spicy, not a generic tropical blast. The cardamom and ginger keep it from sliding into pina colada territory. Then the heart settles into rose and ambre. Soft, warm, slightly powdery, which is unusual for a tropical fragrance. Base is vetiver, oud, amberwood, sandalwood, musk, and amber. The base is the giveaway that this is a Frapin fragrance. The oud and amberwood give it depth that most tropical scents don't have. It doesn't smell like a beach drink. It smells like a Frenchman in a linen suit on a long haul flight to South America. On a steak. This isn't loud, moderate projection, around 5 to 6 hours of real presence. So on a long hot day, you'll want to reapply. And the warm amber base means it leans elegant rather than party. If you want a weekend at the rooftop bar, tropical, this isn't quite it. Closer to dinner on a terrace overlooking the ocean. But for summer fragrance with actual structure and a backstory, this is one of the most distinctive tropical compositions out right now. Best for evenings, travel, anywhere you want tropical without cliché. Fragrance 7. Tonic Water by Mizensir. Last one, and this is the one most people get wrong because of the name. Mizensir is Alberto Moria's own brand. Moria's is, depending on how you count, one of the most prolific perfumers alive. CK1, Aquatics, Vulgari Aqua, Kenzo Flower, dozens more. Fragrances you've smelled 1,000 times without knowing it. Mizensir is the project where he composes for himself on his own terms. Tonic Water dropped in 2023 and the name is a misdirect. This is not a gin tonic concept. Morias has said publicly, "I've always been a lover of the ocean and engineering freshness it gives. Tonic Water is an exercise in style based on the theme of the sea and its power." So this is a marine fragrance, full stop. The Tonic Water reference is about the sensation of cold, sparkling freshness on skin, not the cocktail. The composition reflects that. Top is cologne, the synthetic note that makes the fragrance smell like the ocean, combined with Sichuan pepper and cardamom for sharp, slightly mineral lift. Heart is ambrox, cetylox, and cachalox, which are all ambergris style synthetics that give that warm, salty skin sensation. Base is frankincense, papyrus wood, vanilla absolute, and norlimbanol. So you get a marine opening, a salty warm heart, and a quiet incense and skin dry down. The imagery Morias was going for is sandy, salty skin after a swim, not a glass on a terrace. That distinction matters because if you go in expecting bitter quinine or juniper, you'll be disappointed and return the bottle. On a steak, the synthetic ambergris notes can read soapy on some skin, especially in hour 2, and it's linear by design. It doesn't transform dramatically through the day. About 5 to 7 hours of moderate projection drops off cleanly. But for hot weather, when you genuinely want something that smells like the sea on skin, this is one of the best execution out there. Better than most blue department store fragrances doing the same thing for quarter of the price. Worth knowing what you're actually buying. That's a marine fragrance with an unfortunate name, not a cocktail recreation. Conclusion. Summer is 3 to 4 months, depending on where you live. That's a long time to smell boring. These 7 fragrances offer options that perform well in heat without sacrificing personality. That's the balance that matters. So now that you have 7 good recommendations, you need to learn how to actually wear them so you maximize their potential. I recorded a video on how to do this, you can watch it here. Thanks for watching if you made it this far. Catch you in the next one.